Team off to NASA.
Hi, everyone. Many fabulous faces here. And through the past few days, we've been hosting a lot of conversations around the Digital Women Awards. Our conversation today is who is influencing shopping on social media. In the world that we are in today, there are businesses emerging on social media that are completely born and brought up on social media. Absolutely no websites, no brick and mortar stores, just personal conversations with the right kind of clients who are sort of looking out for your product and making businesses out of direct messages. Consumers today are likely to buy more products by recommendations from people they trust. And that's what the entire social media conversations and influencers are built on. Whether it's endorsing a skincare product or an SUV, we are all likely to take somebody's recommendations, and therefore, that's when you all here on the panel today, Bhavna Jasra, Simone Kambata, Neha Modi, and Mitali, we are all influencers of the social media world. And I'm very excited to take this meaningful conversation on what and how you all are influencing the social media, plan of the way people and consumers and women of all ages, be it sari clad women to women buying juicers or to women buying luxury bags. Everyone's looking out for someone like you who's doing a great job, and putting their trust in you. So let's get started. Um, so I'm going to start my first question. I'd like to hear comments from everyone. Let's start with Bhavna. Bhavna, my question, which is of course open to everyone, is how do you think? What do you think is your approach in selling on social media? Let's start with Bhavna. We'll take a
Hello,
round with
everybody.
everyone.
I'm glad I'm on this show and to share a few of my thoughts on it. See, I've always been engaged in a luxury product. And, when I launched 18 years ago, there was no social media. So the only way of really reaching out to your target audience was, all the famous magazines who wrote about you, or the newspapers that covered, every single, client, celebrity client that you worked with. But over the years, we realized that, social media came in and the whole approach of presenting your stuff to people changed. And I'll be very honest, social media has been a real boon because it's just very happily created the perfect atomic chain reaction that you need to spread a good word about your work. If you go with word of mouth, or if you go with people actually seeing your work physically at a store or at an exhibition, the chain reaction is relatively very slow, and by the time people know about you, it can be like a whole lot of years, and that's a lot of hard work that you have to constantly keep putting in. But with social media, it's what we can say, a very quick kind of adulation. Whatever you've done, you load it on, and of course you have great amount of followers. When big celebs like your work, their followers automatically come onto the bandwagon. So I think it's been a really good journey. I would say that I'm really happy with the way social media has taken our work, because luxury is really not about direct selling most of the times. It's about giving people the aspirational value, the experience, some beautiful testimonials. And what better platform than these social media, different platforms that can actually help us do that. So honestly, we've been very happy recipients of the benefits of social media, at least with my brand. And the second brand that we have just recently launched, We Sort You Mumbai, which is again an Instagram enterprise launched by my daughter. It's completely and absolutely being benefited by Instagram, because it's an Instagram page. So yes, I'm all for marketing on social media. I think it's just a wonderful platform.
Simone, can you tell us what is your approach in the way you feel selling on social media? What is your approach on that?
So, I see this from two perspectives, because I am a brand who has worked with influencers, and then I also happen to be an influencer now. So, when I see it from my brand perspective, of course, it's helped me. I mean, I've worked with Mitali in the past, and it's always helped. I think there is truly no better way sell your product, to market your product, to get more, create about product than social media. So I think it's possibly, a great boon for everyone. But as far as now, when we look at it from the influencer perspective, I do think that you have to pick and choose your influencers. It's not that a lot of brands, me too, go by, at least I used to go by only numbers. But I don't think that it's about the numbers as much as it is about the real engagement of that influencer. How much is that influencer influencing, right? So I think there's a whole strategy behind picking and choosing who you go with, why you go with them, how they suit your aesthetic, everyone has followers, but who are the followers, right? That is what's important. And that's where I feel an influencer comes in as a stronger point, as a stronger selling point than even a celebrity. Because a celebrity has mass following, but an influencer has targeted following. And I think that's what makes the difference when it comes to sales for a brand. So yeah.
Oh, awesome. Mithali, what are your thoughts on that?
So just to sort of, firstly, of course, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. So kind of to pick up from what Simone was saying, it's definitely about curating your audience. So when we started out about almost 10 years ago, we always had a kind of idea about the person who's following us because that person was like us. And we made sure that we catered to that same aesthetic the entire time. So we understand our followers and our followers understand us. We're not trying to go mass. We're not trying to, show a bit of underboob and just have like 100,000 more followers who are not going to be, they're not going to be the correct audience for the brands that come to us, which would in fact mean that I would be cheating my brands. I'd be cheating my clients because I'm not giving you the correct product. I'm not giving you the bang for your buck. So we have to ensure that our followers are the kinds of followers who will purchase the products, appreciate the products, and understand my message. So yes, I think keeping that in mind and curating the right audience is very important when you're trying to sell on social media. And of course, picking and choosing the brands that you work with. You don't just go around picking and choosing, picking brands that would suit anyone. It has to suit your audience. Also, it has to be something that you can stand behind. If I can't stand behind a product, I'm not going to endorse it. Just because you're paying me, it's not enough, because if something is unsuitable to skin or if something is just not my taste or not my aesthetic, I'm not going to include it in my repertoire. So yeah, honesty, integrity, ensuring that the messaging you're putting behind your brands is organic and is something that my followers find relatable. I think if you keep these few things in mind, you can really, create a good sort of give and take between yourself and your followers as far as endorsing products go.
I just want to add a little bit to what Mithali just said. Me, as a person who got onto Instagram from an influencer perspective, as a mom blogger, it started with everything to do with mom the minute I became a mother. For me, it is of the greatest moral responsibility that if I am not okay to use this product on my child, then there's no way, no matter how much money you give me, that I am going to talk about that product on my page. And that is where moral responsibility comes in from an influencer, just taking forward what Mithali said. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I guess that's what builds up the trust as well for a consumer, who's following you and, looking out for your products. Neha, let's hear from you. What do you feel, is your approach to the social media selling?
So I absolutely agree with Simone and Mithali here. And I think that they made great points out of what they're saying. And absolutely, if you can't stand behind something, then it's absolutely immoral to put it out there for your followers, be it whoever it is. And at the end of the day, it's about being able to stand behind who you are, your followers, be true to the brands. And at the same time, but it's also, I think, a part of you. Like it's a lot of you that's on your page. So for me, it's a lot about me as well, me as a person. And if you can reflect that and be true, be real, that goes a long way. So for me, a lot of times I just want to be me. There are a lot of things that are not just about products. It's not just only about things. It's just about you, yourself, your personality out there. And a lot of times your followers will, also relate to you for who you are. And to me, that's important too. And it doesn't have to always be a luxury brand, or it could just be a homegrown brand which has worked for you and you want to put it out there. So it's all about different things for me. And it's also about a lot of positivity. Like that's another thing, because there's so much negativity at the time, and I feel like you can help with a little bit of positivity. That goes a long way. People want to look at your page and feel happy. They want to get out there and feel like, okay, there's also positivity, there's also some fun, there's also something. So for me, that too is a big thing that I like to put out there.
Fabulous. You're absolutely right. I think, people need to enjoy, influencers probably start with, talking about themselves and products. But at the end of it, like Nidali said, you have to relate to the person. And like Neha said, you've got to feel good about, you sort of start relating to that person and how, positive they are. The energy sort of flows out. Bhavna, now you've been in the business, like you said, when magazines were really where people got influenced from. So you've been, on that side earlier with your, business, which has been so strong for so many years, the casting. The social media experience for you, like since you've run businesses both times, is my questions. That's why I directed to you. Now, social media brings a lot of exposure, but does it bring you a lot of local customers as well?
So typically, like how I began my conversation, luxury is really never about selling. Okay, it's always about marketing. You can't really, have a luxury product and say, this is very beautiful. Come, please buy it from me. It never works like that. You always have to concentrate on marketing, and the sales automatically fall. So when you talk about marketing, you're really creating an experience. You're giving people, a beautiful journey of how, how the product is really going to make a difference to them over the years, how people have enjoyed it, their testimonials. So that way, if you see, I would say social media is beautiful because you can, post some beautiful videos of the actual process happening, which people can become a part of, and they actually realize that it's not as cumbersome as they would actually imagine it to be. Or they can actually, be a part of a beautiful testimonial of a couple who've got it done, just before their wedding, and they can share this very beautiful experience. Now, all this, was not very easily communicable in print media. Print media can probably just put a happy picture of a celebrity or a happy picture of a mother holding a baby. But when it came to social media, it's great because there's just a gamut of things we can, put out there for people to get an experience. So I would definitely say that being on, the other side, that we didn't know any better, so that was good then. But after being, exposed to this side of the coin, I think definitely this has brought a huge amount of advantages. People can easily send us DMs, and like you said, conversions. If the experience is happy, if they've gotten involved in what you've displayed for them, they just send a DM, and you'll be surprised, we've got our biggest orders by simple DMs. So yes, I would definitely say there's a huge amount of sales conversion that happens. Again, if your following is right, and you're really talking to the right audience, which again these girls have said, which is perfectly right. If it was considering an 18-year career, I should have probably been over 1 million followers. But I've still stayed at a happy 125K. But this is because the people who are following me for the integrity of my work over the years. They are following me for whatever experience I have given them with my work, with also a bit of my social life, because for engagement we do put people want to know what I'm all about, what my family is all about, and how do I spend a vacation. So we do a lot of stuff which is engaging to our followers. But yes, we do have the right following, and hence we get the right engagement. Yes.
You're absolutely right. At the end of the day, the whole storytelling is, what's really taking or keeping people with you. Because, whether you're telling about your own baby or an experience you got at a spa, the way to sort of communicate, the storytelling is what's really keeping people on social media for such a long time and keeping them with brands, right?
Yes.
Now, you talked about how, the people who are sort of following you, Bhavna, are real audience, right? Now you're all influencers, and I'll throw this question to Simone for starters, but feel free to join in. My question really is that, do you think that organic is the only way, because look, at the end of the day, it is a business, and brands would like to come and see numbers. So while we do understand that some brands are understanding that the conversions are about based on the conversations. Who are the real people who are following you? Are you being followed by just a million men from across India who just watching you because you look beautiful? How are you advertising your blog to get numbers so that brands are watching you more, or do you like to keep it organic? What do you choose in that struggle?
Okay, so there is only one way to do this, and that is organic. There are so many influencers on Instagram today, and I think as time has progressed, I think brands and agencies have gotten a lot smarter, and they've understood, as I mentioned earlier, that it's not about that number. It's how many people have commented and interacted with that post, and what is the interaction. Like you said, is random men saying, "Oh, so sexy, baby," or is it real women talking to you about that product that you've put out there, trying to engage with you on that and figure it out? I think that if you try and grow inorganically on Instagram, it most definitely destroys your engagement rate. And I think it destroys your engagement rate forever. I know people who have attempted to buy followers, and I don't think they have ever been able to grow their page after that point, because it just keeps getting stuck at it. Instagram understands its own algorithm. Instagram is a very, very smart platform, right? So I really do think that, and now let's forget about that part. And I keep repeating that we have a moral responsibility. A brand is paying me money to do something for them. I totally take it upon myself to ensure that this brand does well. And the reason I do that is because I have been a brand first. And I know the struggles a brand faces when dealing with influencers, and the expectations that a brand has from the sales or the marketing or the exposure that they're going to get from an influencer. And so I've taken it upon myself to do whatever I can to ensure that I do my 150% for any brand I work with, because I know how it feels to be a brand.
Yeah. Mitali, would you like to add to that? I feel that, when you look at even big actors, right, everyone's waiting for the Friday numbers, for example, right? And no matter what, everyone says, I'd love to be a good actor, but everyone does look for numbers because they would like, news scores to be hit. So, I'm sure somewhere you all are a little pressured with numbers as well, while you're trying to ensure that, your stories speak for themselves. But do numbers not worry you at all?
So it's definitely a numbers game to start with. And I feel like now agencies and brands are getting more of an understanding of the quality of followers versus the quantity of followers. Because a luxury brand is not going to just jump on an influencer because she has 1 million followers. They're going to actually do their back end. They're going to do their research. They're going to see what kind of followers you have. If it suits the brand, then they will work for you. So even for example, a brand like, for example, Maybelline would not be a good fit for my brand, but Maybelline might be a great fit for a much younger influencer, like perhaps a Santushi. On the other hand, a brand like Hermes may not want to work with a younger influencer because they're not that they're not in that demographic. So I think on one hand, when you're thinking about organic content and numbers, yes, numbers are important. But again, it comes back to that cart horse that we were talking about before. It is quality of the numbers, and now thankfully people are understanding that better and accepting that and allowing us influencers to then sort of utilize our own creativity and create for you the kind of content that we are good at. You can't come to me and ask me to do something that is not my forte, because then you're doing yourself an injustice. And yes, definitely you have to grow organically. If you don't go, we were one of the first influencers to come into the game. So if we had gone down the route a lot of other influencers who are big now and who I know, but I will not name names, we could have bigger numbers as well. But it's just that then you're not having the kind of followers that you need to have. And like others have mentioned, it messes with your algorithm, as Simone said. It messes with your it just messes with the integrity of your followers. So yes, 100% organic content. Sometimes you will lose followers based on some of the content you do, because not everyone's going to accept what you're saying because you're trying to be authentic. I even, like, when I started posting stuff about my baby, about my pregnancy, I had a few people message me like, "Oh, but you guys are a fashion and lifestyle and beauty page. Why are you talking so much about your baby?" And I had to reply being like, "Guys, above all else, this is my life, and I'm going to post about my life, and this is a very big part of my life. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, you don't have to follow us. But if you're going to enjoy our content the way it is, you're welcome to my page any day." So yes, be authentic, create organic content, accept the followers, and let the followers who are a-holes go. And yeah, just don't focus so much on the numbers, because if you do, you're going to drive yourself crazy. If you're focused on the likes, you're going to drive yourself crazy. Sometimes the most one a post that I think is going to get like a crazy amount of likes may just get a small amount. It could be because of the time of day you posted. It could be just because it's some festival. It could be because, I don't know, just people didn't respond to it the way you wanted them to. So don't focus too much on numbers. Also, just know that you're still building, you're doing brand building, and you're creating beautiful content. And you just have to accept that that's just how it is. Because someone may buy a magazine, you may buy ad space in, but may flip over the ad that you've advertised in. You know what I'm saying? So you have to kind of find that sweet spot in the middle, and understand what you're doing, and not get too tied up in the numbers.
But I just
Yeah,
like to add
yeah,
one
Yeah.
thing. As much as the focus is always like we like to say that we want to be organic and we're not focusing on numbers. But you see, what happens is that you have to understand numbers. Well, when I mean numbers, I'm not really essentially talking about all and sundry with mass. But numbers are important because they also focus on the kind of on your growing audience. Okay, now when we started off initially, we were only focusing on our work, putting all the different kinds of work that we were doing, our pictures with the babies, with things. But we kind of realized that engagement needed to be a little more than that, because at the end of the day we were only a single product. And every day posting the same product in maybe a different packaging or whatever tends to get a little boring. And we were at one point of time, we also got a little stuck with numbers. And then we realized that no, at the end of the day, numbers don't always portray that mass is following you, but it also portrays that your product is interesting enough for people to join your bandwagon. And then we started posting a little bit about my holidays, a little bit about my daughter, a little bit about our travels, and my experiences, maybe a product I endorsed. And then we realized that there was a huge jump in numbers, and we very interesting. And then there was a good amount of engagement, because people then every time I posted something, it was a nice question that they even asked me, and which we replied on. So I don't think completely numbers can be ignored, because today you can be like a really brilliant, you can have a brilliant 10,000 following, and they can be all very serious, who really love you for what you're doing. But if you want to be an influencer, unfortunately, it is a rat race, and people will, it's the first question, people actually look at is also, what you're doing and what kind of numbers you have. So I don't think, it would be fair to say that numbers aren't important. They are important, but a quality number is important. But we all
Right.
are
yeah,
constantly working towards getting our numbers up. And numbers come up with interesting content, with engagement, with doing different things on your platform. You technically are playing to the gallery. And that's very
yeah,
important, because
So I'd
yeah.
like to add to that. The thing is also with so many different things happening on Instagram, especially reels and stuff. I think the people have don't have the patience anymore. Even the 1 minute videos, like what we used to sit and watch, are something that we don't want to watch anymore. We just want everything to change in like 5 seconds, and we want like 10 garments to happen in like 5 seconds, and it's just about all the trick of the trade of like editing and stuff like that. And it's hard on the influencers too to be able to cope up, because there's some amazing content out there. It's not always that you can kind of put so much effort into every single video, people getting millions of views and stuff. And of course you're just intrigued to know why are those million views coming on those videos, and what can you do differently. And you have to constantly be at it, and have to understand your audience. And the way you are growing, the audience is growing as well. They are moving on, they're also moving into different kind of things that they enjoy. So you have to be current and you have to be relevant, because if you're not, then I think people just start dropping. I mean, definitely when you see a drop, maybe not an increase, not so, but when you start seeing a drop in your followers, you're like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing that's not correct? What am I doing that's strange? I mean, even though it shouldn't matter, but it does. Like at some level,
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, like I lost 200 followers today. Why? What
Yeah.
am I doing? Yeah, and Mitali is right that of course they should follow you for who you are, but at the end of the day, it does matter. And then you kind of want to make the kind of content that's going and what people are relating to. And I just feel like there's not enough. Credit given to the influencers for being current, and the kind of effort they put into each photograph, and it should fit right, and it should not cut off something, and it should not be of a certain resolution, and it's all kinds of different things. I mean, it's just not that you just put a photograph and it's good to go.
Yeah,
It's
it's a lot of work.
right. It's a lot of work. So I just feel
Also,
like
your best friend. Oh, so I'm so sorry. I'm so
sorry,
sorry.
go ahead.
I think there's a lag. I thought you were done. I'm so sorry.
No, no problem. Go ahead.
I think your best friend as an influencer is your insights. You got to study that shit inside and out. If you keep an eye on your insights every day, you'll understand what's growing, why it's growing, what kind of demographic, what works for what. As long as you literally study your audience through your insights, I think you'll have a much higher sort of success rate.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like stars, when they get Filmfare Awards, they come and say, oh, I'd like to thank my fans first. I think for influencers, all those followers are because they build you up. So, like Neha said, if you lose 200 followers, you will definitely question, because it's not, which follower I lost, but definitely you feel like you're kind of losing, people who build you up, right? Because that's...
No, definitely. Like, for example, even when Sumaya got married, because she's a Muslim, she married a Hindu. We got flack. We had some people who were, writing and talking about, oh, this interrace marriage is wrong, this is haram, blah, 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 blah. So people like that, you want to sort of not have in your circle, because we're putting up a lot of personal stuff, we're putting up a lot of family.
Yeah.
You don't want that kind of negativity coming your way. Fortunately, touch wood for us, we don't get a lot of haters. There was that period when during Sumaya's wedding where the few people that were against intercaste marriage sort of shook off, and we'll have a few people here and there being like, oh, this doesn't suit you, or like, oh, you're putting up too much stuff about your baby. But for the most part, fortunately, we don't have haters. But if you do, those people, you definitely want to shake off your Instagram, because they just bring in more negativity and more nazar, if you believe in that. So I think those people you don't need around, but the ones who are really supportive, 100%. Like, you need to message them, you need to reply to their comments, you need to, like, I personally take time out, even if it takes like 3 hours out of my day. I make that time to reply to all the DMs, to reply to all the comments under the pictures. You just have to interact with your followers, because that's what they want, and that's the reason they follow you.
Absolutely.
So, like every influencer in the past, like 5 months, has jumped in and out of dresses, like jumping into boots and jumping out of the bed and, getting into clothes, right? Now, see, I mean, I'm thinking it from a brand point of view, because you're talking about how are you all influencing selling. So and also, like Neha said, the focus, because they're 1 minute, people can't focus for a minute any longer. It's like seconds, right? So you create a Reels video and you're jumping into 5 garments, and you've tagged like five top brands and 5 bottom brands, or some accessories and all of that. And those flash of seconds you've shown a brand. Do you think that, for instance, I'm taking an example of a video like that, which is so quick, and it's doing well because it's quick and it's keeping the attention, but is that leading to a sale? Do you feel like, how is it that how are you getting an audience to really buy, apart from, keeping them with you? Absolutely anyone. Neha, Simone, anyone wants to start on that?
So from my experience, generally with a reel, especially if it's a reel with so many outfit changes, you're not doing it. It's not a sponsored post. It's probably something you've got lying around in the house, and you're just creating engaging content. If it is a sponsored post, generally you would have more focus on the product. So it might be different looks from the same brand. But again, there's no rule book. Every influencer is doing it as they think, as they choose. So I can't say that this is what everyone is doing. But for the most part, if you see a video like that with multiple outfit changes, it's something that's in your wardrobe. It's not a sponsored post. You're showing different looks. You're tagging the brands because your followers will ask you, hey, where's this from? Where's this from? Where's this from? So you're just making life easier for them. And if it is sponsored, generally, like I said, it's focused on that brand.
And also, I feel like a lot of times, just besides it being brands, you kind of have to show what is your fashion quotient. Like, what are you, how do you like to dress? And a lot of times, people just don't want to see sponsored stuff and only stuff that you've been paid to do. What are you? What is something that you believe in? And how do you dress? And how do you put yourself together? And those are things that are part of reels, and those are really part of something that you want to just put out there for your followers to see. And it's really fun. And like Mitali said, it's probably, when it's a reel and if it's a very fast one, then it's probably going to be one brand with some consolidated looks, and then it's just about the brand. And it's just, we don't mix up a lot of brands in that, unless it's supposed to be some kind of a roundup or something like that. But um I just feel like that it's not always reels is. I don't think it's more of just fun content. I mean, I'm on this platform
Okay.
with Born on Instagram, and we went through this workshop, and I know it's very interesting because a lot of people have been talking about Born on Instagram, and they want reels to be more of something that is real. It doesn't need a huge production. It needs to be more about fun and humor and something why people need to connect with you. It's more
Yeah.
about that. And I
Yeah, I
think the
wasn't
serious stuff
specifically
goes
talking
on.
about reels. My question was
Yeah,
generic about quick content, right? And
sure.
so many clothes changes and
That's because
various things
people
like that.
have no patience anymore, I feel.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
also
yeah.
think,
So,
Ruchi, that these quick outfit changes, multiple outfit changes videos came about through lockdown because there wasn't a lot of sort of sponsored content coming in. There wasn't a lot of work coming in during those few months. So influencers started creating these really fun sort of multiple outfit change videos completely because they were home and they had all these clothes and they had nowhere to go, and we just wanted to show our personal style.
collection.
So that's how it was born. It was purely born out of lockdown. And now it's become something that people are trying to utilize and create engaging sponsored content out of as well. But I think when it started out, it was literally just showing your personal style and your looks and things.
See, I
So,
probably am a little
yeah,
different compared to the others because, like I started off as a live casting artist. So, being, an artist, you don't really, I would say I never wanted to really, parallel up with, the younger bloggers who did all interesting stuff. In fact, I personally enjoyed seeing all their work, but I never really wanted to jump into the bandwagon with them because at the end of the day, the people who followed me for what I am. I have an 18-year-old daughter. I have to act my age, and I have to put stuff out there that people will appreciate. And I've always stayed with that. And in fact, we've actually noticed that people have actually appreciated our content far more when I've done something like an anti-aging product for Kiehl's or something like that, because they've kind of related to me and that product even more. So we have actually honestly chosen, and even if consciously I've done a paid promo for a beautiful outfit, is because I've been a customer of that brand for very long. I've enjoyed them, and then if they come forward and say, "Bhavna, you have to do this for me." So I think everything has to be, like I've said earlier, play to your gallery, play to the what your followers want to see, and maybe you can surprise them once in a while with something different. But yeah, but I think I've stayed away from. This because then all these lovely girls are doing it, and I rather see and enjoy them doing it rather than join the bandwagon. Yeah.
as a consumer, now we're all shopping on social media. I'm sure some of you are too. If like, I'll just take a product like, let's say, milk, for instance, right? So let's assume you're talking about a milk, and you all say that you of course make sure that it's good for your baby or for you, even if adults are drinking it, right? Any sort of product. So let's say you're talking about a milk brand 8 day, and it's great. But brand B is also great, right? Now, if brand B sort of comes ahead and says, let me, I'd like you to endorse it. Now, for me as a consumer, I'm seeing that you're talking about brand aid on day one, and fourth day you're talking about, the best thing to have or a great product. So I'm getting confused of what you are you showing me everything that you're paid for? That because you're paid, then are you just showing me everything because you're getting the money for it? So do you consciously try to keep like not post about 2 night creams in a month, or or space it out? I mean, do you feel you're confusing your audience by talking about two different brands, one night cream today and one night cream tomorrow, for instance? How do you manage that?
So I'm going to take this question on because, well, we do a lot of beauty products as well. So genuinely, what I love and what I use on a regular basis, my followers know because you follow me, you see my stories, you see my night routine, you see my conversations with you. And these are also products that I may have endorsed in the past. I'm continuing to endorse as a paid promotion, but I genuinely use it myself. Then there are products that I love, but because I'm fixated already on this product, I may not have fully incorporated into my routine, but I do genuinely love. Like I mentioned earlier as well, we don't take on products that we can't stand behind, but just because I don't use it doesn't mean I can't stand behind that product. I can't use 100 products, right? Also, when we generally are doing sponsored content, we will let you know it's sponsored. There'll be a hashtag, there'll be some information there that lets you know that this is an ad. You will be able to tell the difference between my organic post, where I'm just being like, hey guys, this is straight up what I'm using, versus something that is sponsored. So you know the difference. And then people who are genuinely interested in knowing which one I prefer will DM me. And then I will respond being like, hey, I actually love this product, or hey, I use this more because this just seems to suit my skin more. Sumaya uses this product instead. Or this is a great product if you have XYZ skin type. So I'll give you information that I have, and I'll tell you honestly whether I use it or I don't use it on the regular. You keep the dialogue honest, and whether you're sponsoring 10 night creams a month or not, that doesn't matter in the end because your followers will know what's sponsored and what's not, and then they'll ask you questions if you have that relationship with your audience.
So I'm just gonna add into that. Of course, what Mithali is talking about is, for instance, cosmetics or creams or whatever it may be, and there's a wide variety based on different skin types, based on whatever. But if you come back to talking about milk, or if you come back to talking about diapers, I do know that when it comes to more kind of specific products like that, I mean, I, for one, really truly believe that if I speak about a diaper brand, then unless the diaper brand that's coming to me next is, far surpasses the previous diaper brand, in my opinion, and I'm genuinely going to be swapping my diaper for my baby and using that, I will talk about it. Otherwise, I don't take it on. So, for instance, I've been using one of the most globally popular diaper brands for my older child, and then there came along these amazing biodegradable diapers that this company in India is doing now, and I made the swap. And it so happens that I made the swap, and I did like this sponsored post with them, and then that global diaper brand came to me, and they were like, "Oh, we want to do this whole long-term thing with you," and I was like, "But I can't." As much as there's a huge part of me, of course, that wants to take that on, right? Because it becomes your business now. So you want to take that on. But at the same time, I'm like, on one side, I have just told my followers how important it is to use biodegradable diapers because landfills are full of diapers right now. At the same time, if I am now going to start talking about that global brand that I may have used in the past myself, then I am confusing my followers completely, and I'm confusing myself, and everyone's just going to be confused. So I think when it comes to Ruchi, coming back to your question, it is a question that is going to differ based on the genre of the product. It's not a very kind of black and white situation. It depends on what the genre is.
Yeah, it just so happens that Kellogg's will give you the money, but an organic brand which is homegrown and using good and date palm jaggery,
they also give you money. Their association may not be that long term.
Finances that a global brand, for instance, can give you and say, talk about our healthy day, for instance. But the lady next door who's actually putting, organic good, of course, because it's at the end of the day a business for you all, I'm sure you're, permanently juggling between that as well.
So it means to say no to that global diaper brand, but I had to do it.
So for us, the way we look at it is, yes, you have to, if you have a cause and something's going against the cause, like for me, I wouldn't talk about a product that is, say, made of meat because I'm against, the consumption of animals. To me, it's an ethical thing. I will not talk about that. But on the other hand, Sumaya does not have that issue. Sumaya eats meat. So she may then be like, yeah, I'll take on this project. And I can't fight that because, she's my business partner. We're equal partners in this company. And then again, going back to the whole cereal thing, yes, if I only chose to talk about organic brands, I wouldn't earn as much as I earn in the month.
Yes.
I'm okay with Kellogg's. I'm also happy with an organic brand. I may eat both of them. Yes, do I think organic is better? Definitely. But if I try to only fixate on, of course, if you guys are running this as your full-time job as a business, which we are, then you have to be okay to also do the non-organic Kellogg's brand, create beautiful content. You're not against the brand, but yes, there's something that is a little bit better than that. So then you have to find that sort of sweet spot and work accordingly. And as Simone said, and as Neha said as well, like you have to figure out what works for you and what doesn't, and sort of balance it out. You can't just pick and choose one. It differs from brand to brand and product to product.
I also feel different people, don't have availability to a lot of different brands. So there may be an organic brand that I love, and it may be only available at a certain place. But they're also looking for an alternative which you can stand behind. And a lot of times they want to look at, okay, so what if I can't find this and I have to find this? And maybe people are on a certain budget for a certain amount of certain things. So you have to be able to give them that option that, okay, if you have to use an option or choose an option, then maybe this might not be a bad choice. I mean, like Mitali said, we're not against it. We're probably may not choose it for our everyday, and we may choose a different brand. So also people should be able to get that variety where they should know that if not this, then what next?
Yeah, fair, absolutely fair. So, it's been damn interesting. I want to take some closing comments, and in that, I really want your opinions on what you feel are the emerging trends on social media. What do you think is coming up next? Simone, do you want to give that a shot, or Bhavna? Anyone can go.
Bhavna, you go.
Yeah.
You're on
mute.
Bhavna, sorry, we can't hear you. You're on mute. Yeah.
So, talking about trends, we have actually always, fortunately or unfortunately, we have really never followed the huge trends because, like I said, people have followed me for being an artist, and a little bit of variety has come along, the way to maybe make the page interesting and get everybody interested. So I would say I've never been one to follow trends like, when everybody did the Vogue cover and everybody did these multiple outfit changes, in spite of the fact that, once in a while my PR insisted and said, why don't you just do it for a laugh? It didn't work with my sensibility, so I never went for it. So I'm not one with trends. But the other business that we have launched very recently, the page We Sort You that I mentioned, that's a page where we are listing all different brands, and we have to go with the trends. Now, whether it's, how we present the product or how we talk about the product or how we make it, interesting, quirky. So I've actually been, with two different businesses where one, I've been a little more conservative, but now the other side, because, my 18-year-old one has launched this business and her approach is very different, and everything, Mom, this is trending and this is what we have to do. So I'm also actually seeing a new side of, following trends, which I never did all these years. So maybe the other girls are in a better position to talk about trending.
So I'm going to just, I am in general a person who just doesn't believe in trends. I haven't believed in trends as a fashion designer because I don't think, now again, trends could be the way someone's dressing, the makeup of the look of the haircut of the season, or the hair color of the season, or the whatever it may be. Everyone is not going to look good in what Mitali looks good in, or what Neha looks good in, or what Simone looks good in, right? You have to really get inspired by all these influencers on social media. Look around, Mitali may look stunning in what she's wearing, but you have to ask yourself, is that going to work on my body type? Is that going to work on my face cut? Is that going to work with my hair? Sometimes you don't know, but we make mistakes. We learn. I've had bad haircuts. I'm sure everyone has. We've had bad hair days, bad makeup days, bad outfit days. But you learn as you go. So I really think it's extremely important for everyone to really get to know who they are instead of trying to be what someone else is. And as long as you can do that, you're always going to look fabulous and you're always going to feel fabulous. And it's really about feeling fabulous. Because if you feel fabulous, it's always going to show on the outside.
Absolutely, yes.
So for me, I'm a person who loves trends. I love trends. Not necessarily follow them, but I love trends because it's so interesting to see how everything evolves. And I love fashion. For me, when I see a trend, I like to make it my own. So I may not be able to walk around wearing neon clothes, but I like to add like a hint of neon in my clothes. Like, so that's what I'll do. I'll add trends onto me, which I can carry off. But I think trends are so much fun. It's just something to look forward to. It's like how it's always evolving and emerging. It's like how high-waisted jeans are back in fashion. I mean, not all the time I can carry it, but I feel like I can do away with maybe wearing a broad belt with it, you know. So you kind of have to mix and match, and I find it very interesting because when I see, I mean, of course, I also have a 14-year-old son. The older one is 14, and he constantly tells me like, "What are you wearing, mama?" And I'm like, "It's okay." He's like, "You know, you're not supposed to be wearing that," but that's fine. And I also feel like it's a lot of like learning, like Simone said, like you kind of learn that maybe that's not something that you know you can carry off or not. But yeah, for me, I love trends, and I find it so interesting when I see new things emerging, and I think that gives me so much inspiration to do better. And definitely, I succumb to all those videos and try to change as fast as I can, even though it takes the same amount of time. It just goes faster on your gram. But yeah, but you know, yeah, for me, I love incorporating trends into my daily life, and I don't necessarily do them the whole way, but yes, whatever part I can, I do. And yeah, it's so I guess over to you, Mali.
Yeah, so Mitali,
Okay, first thing I want to say,
I just want to
sorry, first thing I
say a
want to say,
question.
Bhavna, you do not look like you have an 18-year-old, and Neha, you do not look like you have a 14-year-old. So, guys,
Thank
amazing.
you.
Yeah, sorry,
Um,
Ruchi, you were saying.
I was saying that my question really is directed a lot more to the emerging trends on social media, like videos right now taking center stage, right? So, Mitali, what do you think is like coming up next if you
So I
have a
think
sort of
when you're an influencer and when uh, all these platforms is your bread and butter, you have to follow the trends. You have to keep
yeah,
up to date with the trends. You may not love. So when those reels came out, we didn't fully understand them. The quick videos, you were like, "What is this crap? Why are they doing this? This is insane." But of course, eventually, you have to get into it because if you want to succeed in this line of work, you have to keep up with the trends. And the trends on social media are changing constantly because the way we consume social media is changing constantly. We as an audience are evolving, so social media evolves with us. So if I don't follow these trends, I'm leaving behind a lot of followers that I could potentially have. So in terms of social media trends, I think it's very important. Things will come up, things will die. I don't know how long we have Instagram to rely on. Something else might come and take over, the same way Facebook sort of died out at one point. Didn't die out, but it changed considerably and it lost a lot of its viewership. So I think you just need to keep up to date or you will get left behind.
So I feel the same about social media trends as Mitali said. When Reels came out, actually, I had just gotten onto TikTok, and I used to look down upon
Yeah.
TikTok. Like I was like, okay, I'm going to sound like whatever elitist, but I really looked down upon TikTok. But then lockdown happened, and suddenly I was on TikTok, and I was like, and my friends are like, "What is wrong with you?" And then Reels happened, and I was like, okay. But I think that Reels have benefited us so much because it's literally like free promotion. It's like you pay for, to get your kind of my brand. I would pay to kind of, get my brand featured on different people's feeds. Over here, your Reels are reaching out to such a vast audience, not just your followers. So it's a fabulous way to kind of grow your numbers organically.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Awesome,
Simone, you
ladies.
same thing with me. I used to love TikTok only for like those funny things that we used to do, but I don't know if I have the same thing to put that on my Instagram feed as well. So I'm kind of confused because Reels kind of came in when TikTok just kind of went off, but
Yeah,
it's
I
a
think
lot of
Reels
fun.
was Instagram's response to TikTok, because TikTok in our country, the audience is not the right audience for what we are trying to promote,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
Instagram Reels for us is fantastic when you're trying to get that same reach as, okay, TikTok definitely has more of a reach than Reels does, but if you're trying to get as at least part of that reach on Instagram, you have to do Reels. You just have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reels has benefited us a lot as well, because people have not only enjoyed the final product, because that again is just a picture to see, but the actual process of how a baby is wriggling their toes while we are taking the impression. So Reels has actually become a very very brilliant medium for us to get across the whole emotion of getting Simone, you remember you were busy taking the video when I was taking Zephyr's impressions. I still remember. So now when
That
you put something
partner
like
was behind
that.
me, behind my head. There, right there. My son's hands and feet.
So I remember Simone at that time was so busy, so involved in taking all kinds of videos, all directions, all ways. And when we posted it the next day, all these are joys. They're joys for the parents, but they're equally great joys for people who are watching. And when you put this kind of content on Reels, we realize that there's a huge jump in the number of, even inquiries coming. Because, people actually realize that even the process of taking an impression is not cumbersome. It's enjoyable. The parents are enjoying it. The kid is also, not being troubled or crying or doing anything of that kind. So yeah, for us, it's been a huge way of advertising our product.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ladies. This has been a fun conversation, and you all are doing so well in your own space, influencing many people, women to buy things, even men probably to buy for others. So thank you so much. It's been a wonderful
Thank
chat,
you.
and
Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for having us
Thank
on.
you, Ruchi. Thank you,
Thank
Thank
ladies.
you,
you. Thank you. Thank
everyone.
you,
Have a
girls.
great
Thanks,
time.
Ruchi. Thanks.
thank you.
I think I was 13 when I started my first venture.
हमेशा पता था कि कुछ अपने आप करना है और अपने बलबूते पे खड़ा होना है.
1400 viewers, you're actually making a social impact in a huge way.
Every second day feels like something's going to break, and that's just a part of being an entrepreneur. But I think the one thing that I've learned is you have to persist.
My brand talks about clothes which are 2-in-1.
I said, no, I'm manager, I'm owner, I'm everything. And they just looked at me and said, you, आपके husband off हो गए?
The Indian economy is going through some sort of a slowdown. What's going to